There are shortcuts in gardening, and then there are methods so powerful that, honestly, the first time you see the results, you feel like you've stumbled into forbidden knowledge. Fermented compost juice? Well, it falls into that second category. It's the kind of trick old-timers used when they needed to revive a bed fast or push a weak crop into full productivity before a season ended. You won't hear it talked about in commercial agriculture circles because, frankly, it works too well, too cheaply, and relies on nothing but the simplest ingredients. When I tested it on tired soil that had produced little more than stunted plants and pale leaves, the transformation was something I didn't expect, not at all. Within days, not weeks, the plants responded. Growth accelerated, colour deepened, and the soil came alive with the kind of activity you normally see in a forest floor. This is why fermented compost juice earns its reputation as the fastest soil booster ever tested. Why fermented compost juice works on soil faster than traditional composting systems. Traditional composting relies on slow decomposition. Microbes need time to break down organic matter before plants can use the nutrients. Fermented compost juice, though, skips the waiting period by giving the soil a direct infusion of living microbes, dissolved nutrients, and organic acids. The fermentation process, breaks material down into smaller plant-ready compounds long before you pour it onto the soil. Instead of waiting months for compost to mature, you're actually delivering the most active fraction of it immediately. During fermentation, bacteria and fungi multiply at a rapid rate, feeding on the organic matter and releasing enzymes that unlock nutrients trapped in the compost. What ends up in your bucket is not just a nutrient solution. It's a living culture powerful enough to colonize soil within hours. When this microbial surge hits the ground, it spreads aggressively, occupying root zones, digesting leftover organic debris, and releasing nutrients at a rate that plants respond to almost instantly. One practical example is applying the juice around crops that have stalled mid-season. Within a few days, you'll often see an uptick in growth, leaves firming up, and roots pushing deeper. You know, it's the same effect farmers historically leveraged when they used fermented manures and teas long before synthetic fertilizers came into the picture. So, how do you create a truly potent fermented compost juice that delivers real results? The key to producing a strong batch is starting with high-quality organic matter and giving microbes the right conditions to work. Begin with a bucket filled 1/3 with mature compost. Then add a handful of green material, such as fresh grass clippings or kitchen scraps, to provide sugars and proteins that stimulate microbial growth. Next, fill the remaining space with non-chlorinated water, stir thoroughly, and let the mixture sit loosely covered for several days. The fermentation process needs warmth and oxygen. Stirring the mixture once or twice daily helps supply fresh air to the microbes, preventing anaerobic rot and encouraging a deeper microbial diversity. You'll know fermentation is underway when the liquid darkens and develops a slightly sour, earthy smell. At this stage, the microbes are multiplying rapidly, feeding on the compost and dissolving nutrients into the liquid. After 4 to 7 days, strain the liquid, dilute it with water to prevent overwhelming young roots and begin applying it directly to soil around your crops. The leftover solids can go right back into your compost pile, already enriched by the fermentation process. Now, many gardeners, repeat the fermentation cycle every week during the growing season. This helps to keep the soil lively and full of vitality. So, here's the thing. Fermented compost juice changes your soil's structure, not just the nutrient levels. Most fertilizers, they focus on feeding the plants directly and sort of skip over the soil's natural processes. Fermented compost juice, on the other hand, does the opposite. It feeds the soil first. When you boost the microbial population in your soil, it really does rebuild the structure from the inside out. These microbes bind loose particles together into aggregates, which improves both airflow and water retention. It's a proper game changer for healthy soil, honestly. They break down minerals and organic material the soil normally can't access. They also release compounds that stimulate root growth and, strengthen plant immune systems. The most dramatic changes occur when this juice is poured onto compacted or depleted soil. Microbes begin tunneling, digesting, and transforming the ground almost immediately. Roots sense the shift and respond with deeper penetration. Moisture stays in the soil longer even when it's under a bit of heat stress. In survival farming or low-input systems, this is honestly a game-changer because it replaces expensive amendments with a biological engine that, fuels itself. One practical application, really, is treating a planting hole before setting a seedling. A small dose of fermented compost juice placed directly in the hole populates the root zone with beneficial organisms. As the seedling grows, it forms a partnership with those microbes, tapping into nutrients more efficiently and, growing stronger than untreated plants. How to use fermented compost juice throughout the season for maximum impact. The versatility of this soil booster is part of what makes it so valuable. You can apply it early in the season to wake up cold soil. You can use it mid-season when crops hit a slump. You can even apply it at the end of the season to prepare beds for future planting. One reliable method is a 3-stage application, once before planting, once during early vegetative growth, and once during fruiting. The first application builds microbial foundations. The second boosts nutrient cycling when plants demand the most. The third strengthens root systems and increases nutrient availability during the final push. For gardeners using mulch or no-till systems, fermented compost juice flows straight through the mulch layer, activating it from within. The mulch becomes a microbe-rich sponge that slowly leaches nutrients into the soil. This creates a long-lasting fertility zone that mimics natural forest ecosystems. If you're looking for the fastest, most cost-effective way to supercharge your soil, fermented compost juice stands in a league of its own. Its speed, power and simplicity make it one of the most valuable tools in regenerative gardening. If this guide helped you understand how to harness real biological power in your soil, Make sure you subscribe to FarmLab and share this video so more growers can reclaim these time-tested methods.